Alrighty, hello everyone. I don't know what's going on. I do not see this working. What's going on? Okay, that's working now. Okay, now it's working. Perfect. Cool. All right. Let me post this to a few more places, and we're gonna attempt to do a giveaway today. Attempt is the key word. I don't think it will work well. Trying to figure it out how that works. But yeah, I I looked up a few areas where we can make stuff happen, but it probably won't work 100%. So yes, that's a little bit of a bummer. Okay, cool. So today we have a pretty short stream, about an hour and a half, and we'll be chatting about kind of just essentially some of the updates, some of the things that are happening in the Dumbphone world. Not a lot until probably after the summer, to be honest. A lot of the phones that have been released, they are now shipping, but you won't see probably substantial updates until later on. And again, we'll try to do this giveaway. I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll see. Oh, hey, returning retro here, Jake from there, from returning retros here. But first, I want to start with a summer read suggestion. So I want you to all get this book. I think it's an excellent book. It's called Unplug: How to Break with Your Phone by Richard Simon. I did get an advanced copy, and this is all I can show you essentially. I have finished this book as of yesterday, and it's a very nice read, very, very easy, and I'm really happy to kind of looking into it. Very good book. It contains a lot of good information on the subject of how to break up with your phone. His maybe his understanding of the how to do it is it's actually, I think, pretty helpful because here, let me put on the timestamp. And I think it's helpful because he's thinking of it from a perspective of like shutting it off. Shutting off your smartphone is probably one of the best steps that you can take for this kind of stuff. So yeah, Unplug the book, How to Break Up with Your Phone. Highly recommend. I will put a link in the chat in just a second. Give me a second. Let me open this in the browser. And I highly recommend that you at least give it a look because it's in pre-order right now. It's coming out now in June, I believe. I'm going to actually have an interview with him on the podcast, so stay tuned into that. Yes, it is coming in June 17, 2025. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a good book to help people understand how to or why start with this digital minimalist perspective and how to do it, and in a non-intimidating way. So I really think it's going to help a lot of people. Few things. The light phone got updated a few days ago. Same thing with the minimal phone. Minimal phone got an update the other day, and there is a bigger update hopefully coming soon. So stay tuned to that. And again, if you have any questions, put them in there in the chat and we'll be going over them. Besides this, not a lot happening in the Dumbphone world right now. We'll go over the Sidephone, which is probably one of the biggest developments. And then another project that is hopefully bringing back the Blackberry. So we'll talk about those and what are my thoughts essentially when it comes to some of these things. I mean, I think these two areas have potential, but at the same time, I'm not too optimistic about certain areas for the BlackBerry, the Sidephone. I'm actually getting to meet with the founder sometime in June, so we'll be seeing more stuff like that. Okay, so let's get over news first, and then if you have any questions, I'll bring back the phones. That's essentially what we have right now. So let's go over that. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Cool. Okay, so first news. Let's start with Mudita Compact. So the Mudita Compact is now finally shipping both global and to North American backers. So there are two versions of the Mudita Compact, um, and they are both now shipping. So it's really good that I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that they are updating the device and coming with a lot of really nice functionality, but they are also shipping it, which having it in hand is extremely important. I have a copy of that device here, so if you have any specific questions about the Mudita Compact, let me know. But there is also, of course, with as more people get the device, there are also more bugs found. And if you want to look into that, I highly recommend you go to the forum. So they do have a forum, as you see right here. Let me, yeah. So, and the forum has a lot of more information, people and what their experiences are. I think one of the main things that the community in the Mudita community is discussing right now is kind of like the lack of a few, things like this phone has maps, but it doesn't have turn-by-turn GPS. And it's kind of like, okay, is that coming? Is that not going to come? Do I have to side load it? And having that clarity is good. The advantage with the Mudita Compact is that it allows side loading for those extra things and apps that you may want, which, it puts it a little bit more into quote-unquote smartphone territory, but there's nothing wrong with that, especially because it has an e-ink screen that will not allow you to kind of be distracted all the time. So I really, really like that. But yes, so again, it says pre-orders, I guess, extra information on the U.S. tariffs. If you purchase before April 2025 or April 25 without any additional, and then after April 25, 2025, you agreed that the buyer will be responsible for covering customs and duties. So they do have a little bit of that difference. So depending on when you pre-ordered, you will have this available or not. There is a link if you want to check that out for the purchase. Here, let me make sure that I get you that link. This is one of my top 5 devices for the year, and I really think it's extremely good. So if you want to pre-order, you can go to store.mudita.com and you can use the code Briones15. This one is only accessible for accessories right now, I believe. It's not live for the actual phone. But if you want to use that code, Briones15, you will get 15% off whenever you pre-order. And especially right now, if you get accessories and that kind of stuff, it will apply to some of those. Yeah, so that is that. I'm happy to see more people with the device. I think it's going to be an excellent device for a lot of people. And they are continuing to develop also the updates, right? So, you have the Mudita Compact, enhance your privacy, comfort with the eyes. I mean, you can see it has been seen in different reviews all over around in the kind of like YouTube sphere. And it does have some really nice things, but of course there are a lot of updates that are and upgrades that are going to have to come. But you can get more details on specifications, how it works, their promises on the website, and I hope you visit it. I think it's a cool phone. It definitely doesn't work for my purposes personally, but I think that as it becomes better, it will be maybe, kind of like running into like, okay, maybe I will get this for my personal device. Maybe I will use it for my personal device. Hello, Alt and Companion, and hello, Ambient Classical. Thank you for being here and hanging around. Yeah, so right now it's on pre-order. So if you try to use my code, it will not work. For the North American, maybe it works for the global optimize. I'm not sure yet as to how that's kind of like working. We can test, I guess. Let me go to the cart. Oh, sure. Let's pick a color, and then let's see if it works out. Discount code. Probably maybe if you get the global. Yes, so if you get the global, it does work. If you get the North America optimized, it's not working yet, but you get a nice $65 off your order if you do it with my coupon code Briones15. So you can use that for the global version. I don't think it works yet for the North American version, but there you go. I hope it helps you and it gives you a little bit of an extra, little thing right there for your device. And I believe the pre-order for the North America will eventually become 439s very soon. So you need to kind of like take a look into that and see. But you can use the coupon code Briones15 and get that 15% off. Okay, let's move to news about the Sidephone. I think this is a very exciting device. I do have a few questions when it comes to R&D and quality of device, and that kind of stuff. So this is the next news. Good question, Ambient. Does it have RCS? No, the Mudita Compact does not have RCS because you need Google services for that, and the Mudita Compact does not have Google services. Let's move to conversation about the Sidephone at around 10 minutes. So let me put it on the timestamps for the people that are watching afterwards. If you want to find something specific afterwards. Sidephone news. So the design has been finally revealed for the Sidephone, and I'm happy about that. We get to see what the actual device looks like, and here it is. Essentially, how it works out is you have a screen essentially about I believe it's like 2.8 on the screen, and then you have different keyboard panel configurations. So you have a regular T9 keypad, then you have these larger buttons that are still in a 9-button configuration but no extra row. So this is probably going to be for like music playing or maybe like doing something different. They are thinking about QWERTY keyboard. So essentially the novelty is that you can take these panels on and off and create like right there, they have a magnetic clip and you kind of go on and off and see how it works. Here's some little picture of how it looks like. It looks pretty sleek. I think it essentially looks like a Apple Watch with a keypad, right? So they kind of took that idea similarly to other things that have been played around in the community with the Apple Watch. Now, of course, a little bit of a larger screen, and it seems to have good materials with these. I don't think it's going to be full aluminum, but it may be kind of like a version in between of that. And then it's going to have some of these apps as we have kind of put in the past, and you have really frequently asked questions, right? So remember when we first started kind of like getting the news for this device, it was $129. The retail price right now has gone up about double, $249. But I mean, I understand why, right? Like they're investing a lot of time in developing something that looks premium, and that probably feels premium. Whereas before, I think they had a lot of the plastic components and probably something more off the shelf. That's what they were probably playing around with. This reminds me of, and I guess I'll put it on the screen. Give me a second. So the TIQ Mini. So it's kind of similar to the TIQ Mini M5, but instead of plastic is going to be more. You know what? Give me a second. Yes. There you go. That's better. Yeah, so this is the TIQ Mini M5, and the TIQ Mini M5 is kind of like that, right? So it has a screen, 2.8, then it has a keypad, and this is touchscreen, so you're able to get the apps that you need. The only thing is that you'll be able to take off this portion because it's kind of magnetically worked on. But it's very similar, right? So that similar concept of TIQ Mini, Xiaomi F21 Pro, that kind of a device that is hybrid. There's a little bit of an in-between. You have a keypad, you have a smaller screen, so you're probably not going to use it as much. But then you get all of the functionality of Android and having the ability to, sideload different apps, like Maps or Apple Music or whatever, Uber. I don't know how they're going to make this work in certain areas. So for example, Uber does need Google Play services to work properly. you can do some workarounds, but we'll see what they do. And I mean, I'm not necessarily super concerned about the feasibility of putting or hacking gaps, Google apps into this for that, or keeping it de-Googled and still making it work. But yeah, so super exciting news from the Sidephone team. I'm going to be meeting with one of the founders, Chris, pretty soon, and what is going to be happening is, I probably get to see the phone, but we're just hanging out. He's going to be in the Denver area for a few days, and I just wanted to kind of hang out and catch up. I mean, that's kind of like the good thing about the offline Dumbphone movement. We get to do a lot of stuff in the real world instead of just kind of like talks over the screen, which can be helpful, but sometimes it's better to just see somebody in person. So yeah. Sidephone, go and kind of, put your email there, get notified for some of these new things that are happening, so that you can get all of the information and the best price, because I think this $249 is most likely going to be the final price, but I will not be surprised if they go to $299, especially with some of the things that are happening in the world right now, with some of the instability economically. I wouldn't be extremely surprised if they end up going to $299. So make sure to get it very, very early as possible to get your best price. Similar thing happened with the Light phone, if you recall. When I told you to get it a year ago, it was $399, and now it's $699, which, it's a lot of money. But that's why, like, you got to get it early. You got to get it while they're hot, per se. I did have one thing that I wanted to share about the Light phone, but we'll get to that in just a second. Chronologically. Yeah. Yes. So good. Okay. So Sidephone news. Then news-wise, besides some of this stuff, there is the Blackberry project. Here, give me 1 second. I'm going to find that link. So there is somebody trying to do a Blackberry revival, essentially. Wrong button. Give me 1 second. File. Yes. Okay. So let's see if that works. Yes, that worked. So there is Blackberry Q20 revival. So yeah, I believe Returning Retro, Jake from Returning Retro, he decided to interview this guy. And yeah, so it's kind of like something that's interesting. Here is the reviving my Blackberry Classic. Jake, do you have a link for somebody posted it on the subreddit the other day. It is available for pre-order, so I kind of wanted to showcase that the other day. This person is kind of like going through the components and trying to revive the project of the Blackberry Classic. Here, let's see. Let's go to Dumbphones. And then let's go to Blackberry. Somebody posted it the other day. Relevance new. No. Yeah, I don't see it, but I did see it the other day. It was in one of the communities. I believe he's taking pre-orders. Classic. Let's see if we go with this. Top new. Nope, I don't see it. Okay, well, there is a link. I'm going to try to figure it out. Yeah, so somebody's going to post it right there. Jake, thank you. And we'll get the link. And then I'll kind of go over. But essentially what happened, and if you want to get information, here, let me go to YouTube. So you can go to Returning Retro. He did an interview with this guy who is essentially trying to modify the whole thing. So like this is update number 2, 4 days ago. and you can watch essentially what's going on, what's the progress, how it's working. Essentially, all the components are being reworked from the ground up. As you see right there, some of the apps are running in there, and there have been projects in the past that have made this work. As in like Android, you know, kind of going into the Android or LTE compatibility. So these are the LTE bands that he's going to try to resurrect, essentially get a conversion kit for people. And yeah, kind of like going with software updates and, you know, that kind of stuff. So these are some of the things that are happening kind of like in the background. And of course, this person is probably an engineer, and, you know, he's trying to like do all of these things. And I'm excited. I think, you know, Blackberries have kind of like that kind of workaround availability. You can make it work. You can make it, you know, happen. So yeah, it's very prototype still, as you see on your screen. But if you're interested in the project, I think it has a lot of value, and it can help people, you know, kind of like understand like, okay, yeah, there is a possibility of bringing back buttons, bringing back this form factor with the BlackBerry feel, and it's not a pipe dream, right? So somebody's looking at the opportunity and saying, this is possible. This is something that, sorry, I'm typing for the future people that are watching. So it's something that is going to be workable and bring back this option. So having options, I think it's the best part of all of this, because yeah, it's kind of you know, seeing how it works. Yeah. Okay, so we do seem to have a few questions, so we'll go over that. And yes, let's go over that. So let's see. Says, hey Jose, first question. Alt Companion says, did you ever get the TIQ Mini working on Verizon network? I tried US Mobile, but MMS is not working. Yes. So good question on that. Let me see. TIQ Mini M5 at 22 minutes. Yes, I did. And the reason why is because there is a software glitch that I highly recommend. So let me go back here. Perfect. So this is the TIQ Mini M5. You know, Android Dumbphone, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But in order to make it work, you need this update, which they don't really advertise. Unfortunately, their communication is, I mean, subpar, right? Like, you know, TIQ Mini M5 update. So I highly recommend you go to their website or their YouTube, actually. So let's go over. Did this turn off? No, I didn't. It just says battery is a little on the low side. Yes, that's fine. How low? 8%. Okay, we have 8% just to show you this. Okay, so let's go here and here. So go to the YouTube right here, to the TIQ Mini channel, and go to the M5 update is here. You need to have this update right here. Unfortunately, as far as I've been told, this is not possible to install from a this is not possible to install from over the air. You actually have to do it manually. And yes, so it is possible to get everything working and everything functioning well. The main issue is that you have to do this by downloading this file. So the latest M5 software update package, if necessary, please download it to a Windows computer for preview. There's a tutorial video in the file package. So that's what you have to do to be on the latest. You have to be on the latest work thing, like their latest software, but you have to download it and update it yourself via Windows, and that's just cumbersome. I wish they just did what pretty much everybody else does, which is have a proper over-the-air update. So I recommend you take a look into it. It's definitely faster and more dependable after the update. And I recommend you take a look into it and go and do that upgrade for the TIQ Mini M5, and then check your APN settings. So after that, checking your APM settings will be very, very important. Oh, there it is. And I think that that will make a big difference. So those are my, those are my recommendations for the TIQ Mini M5. It's not a device that I love because of this kind of stuff, right? Like, it's a company that, we don't really know, and they don't communicate, right? So like, I mean, this is where, like, I kind of go on rants of like support companies that communicate, support companies that actually are communicating with customers, support companies that are actually, I didn't find out about this update until somebody texted me and or sent me a message, on Reddit, and was like, "Hey, do you know about this update?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know about this update," because the company never communicated. And I go to settings and I keep clicking, "Hey, I need this update," right? But it fixed a lot of issues. It fixed a lot of things. And then on top of that, you need a Windows computer, right? So you need a Windows computer to do the TIQ Mini M5 update, which is like, okay, well, that's another layer of lack of, what if I have a Mac? What if I have a Linux, or, whatever, whatever I'm using. And it's just like, okay, now I'm stuck with this because you guys are not doing your job, which is updating it over the air, right? Like, because that's kind of like the expectation. Yeah. So cool. That's just something. Returning Retro says that he forwarded me the link. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you. I will download this, and then maybe I can showcase some of that stuff later. Yes. So if you have the link, I'll appreciate that too, Jake. So thank you. Yeah. So again, support companies that don't do this, which is essentially ask you to update manually, which not everybody has the expertise. Not everybody has the kind of like how to do this, all of this stuff. So, yeah, go do the update, get the MMS working, and your life will be a little bit better as a result for that. So yeah, thank you for coming to the live streaming. I'm glad that it was helpful to you in this specific instance, yeah. So, okay. Next question. Let's see. Billy says, why do you think, hey, Jose, why do you think they don't go through Indigo or Kickstarter? Going private doesn't protect buyers. Sounds good, but we should pre-order money and then not deliver. Yeah, I agree. I believe Jake said something here that they're working on a Kickstarter, so I would wait for a Kickstarter as well. I would not... for all of these projects, I highly recommend that you get protection, some level of protection, of course. Kickstarter is not full protection, right? Into the whole kind of like everything, how it works. You're always betting on the project becoming live, and at some point in time, you kind of lose your money, right? But yeah, so I really think that you should look into, whenever there is a Kickstarter, give the money. If there's no Kickstarter, don't do it. In my opinion, that's kind of like just my opinion, kind of working in that. All right. Nadella asks, please say something or about the Nokia 2720 Flip mobile. Is it good or not? Well, that's a difficult question, but it's good if you want the basics only. I mean, if you can live with the basics only, and you don't care about apps, you don't care about all of these different things, yeah, I think it's a great phone. Here, give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So, no, live. So this is the Barbie phone. I don't know if it has any battery. I don't think it does. So I'll charge it. It shouldn't take long. But this is a successor to the 2720. And as long as you're okay with, again, the basics, I think you should be able to, not be concerned about like, okay, do I need all of these apps or whatever, right? It's just kind of like my 2 cents that that should be it should be a good phone if that's the one that you can get in your area as well. Yeah, just make sure that it's legit. Sometimes they have fake Nokia 2720s, so be aware of that. But it's a good phone. I think it's running KaiOS 2.5, so it's a little bit slower on certain areas, but overall it's a good phone. It gets the job done. There are a lot of phones out there that are just basic, and they will be good enough if you just do the basics with them, right? The problem is that people want to start getting through like extra functionality, right? Like trying to make sure to get extra things like email or social media or YouTube. And sometimes that's necessary for some people, but then get a different phone. Get a phone that is tested and known for these things, right? Not necessarily a phone that is only meant for the basics. We'll do 2 more questions. And then we'll let them pile up again, and then we'll go through a little bit of a walkthrough of the maybe the Mudita, just got an update. So yeah, maybe we'll do that. Actually, I do have something I wanted to share from the light phone and that kind of stuff. So we'll go to that. Okay, more questions. Returning. Which link? There is a link for a pre-order, Jake. Essentially, it's a link that it was like $400 and $500 from this developer that is trying to do the QWERTY keyboard with the Android Blackberry Classic. So yeah, if you can find it, that would be great. If not, that's okay. Like it's floating around there and probably will become more serious as the project actually matures. So one more question says, I have the Alcatel Flip 2, but I cannot access email due to the next button not clicking to enter my password. So, okay, good. This is interesting. So the Alcatel Flip 2, let's see if I recall correctly. This is not the My Flip 2. You mean this one? You mean the KaiOS version or the Android version? There are 2 different versions. So Alcatel Flip 2. So there's this one, the Go Flip, right? Which this version is using Android. And then there is another one called the Alcatel My Flip, or Flip 2. There it is. So there's the Alcatel Flip 2, which is not using Android, but is actually using KaiOS. So which one is it that you have? Just wanted to make sure. KaiOS. Okay, yes, there you go. So the KaiOS version is notorious, and actually I can actually just give me a few minutes and I'll show you why that doesn't work. And you're trying to use the default email app, right, Atori? We're gonna go to wait for a second to see what he replies. Okay, perfect. I will show you why this is a problem and possible solutions on how to fix it. But let's give me 10 minutes so that this phone can actually charge, and I can show you how that works. The short answer is that you need a Bluetooth mouse, as annoying as that is, or you need a different method of authentication, which is unfortunate as well. So again, it's yes, the Alcatel TCL Flip 2s are notorious for having this issue. Okay, we'll go over a few things that I wanted to share. Let's see, and then we'll go back to questions and kind of like a demo of why you may need to switch to a different phone. But we'll figure it out. Let's see. I need to update the timestamps. Yes, timestamps at 34. So we're going to go over light phone news now. So a few good things are coming on the light phone world. So if you are a light phone enthusiast, that's something that phone 3 and 2 updates. So we've been looking into a few extra things that are coming to the light phone. I highly recommend that you look into the blog, to kind of get some of the latest information. But also, if you want to get some extra kind of like info on the light phone and some of the latest stuff that's happening, I recommend that you join the Discord. I found this video. I really think it's a good video to showcase why getting a dumb phone is different than dumbing down your smartphone. This happened in Notre Dame University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. So they essentially did a course on the digital apocalypse, as they call it. And they kind of like challenge students to think through, some of these different things. And you can see some of their testimonials and what happened. And I really think that it's important to see why some of these dumb phone alternatives, right? They are a good reset button for a lot of people, and how the dumb down system, right? So something like, I have the Mudita here, and you can sideload apps. So you have all of the conveniences already with you. So you have, all of this. You can sideload whatever it is that you want. But not having these applications, being limited to only the basics, makes a big difference, and it changes how your brain thinks. And I like this interview that they did on, they used light phones for this experiment, and they did the class, for some of this stuff. Now, I highly recommend, if you want to get a light phone, make sure to pre-order it, that kind of stuff, right? But there is the light phone 2, the North America light gray is back in stock, and they are also going to release 2 big updates for this device. So one of them is coming now in the summer, and then for the light phone 3, there is a new update incoming that is going to make it just kind of like more stable. They're going to be adding the eSIM functionality very soon. And again, if you want to get more information for that, I'm going to put the Discord link, because I really think that it's going to be helpful, in that sense, for you to get some of those latest updates. And yeah, so here, let me edit, never generate a link, copy, and I'll be posting it right here. Yeah, so yes, so join right there for the Discord link if you want to get the latest news. And there are some really nice, very, very actually nice updates incoming very soon. Okay, good. Let's see. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. My experience has been improving. I already said that I loved the light phone experience as it was, but the latest updates have just made it way easier, to kind of like get through things. Let me see. This is just a code. Give me a second. Yeah, cool. So the latest updates have been making it just easier to use, faster, and more stable. There was a notes, there's a podcast one now, all of this good stuff right here. As you see, everything is working way better, and now it's definitely more stable. It was already a good experience for me, and it continues to be a good experience. There are some outstanding issues that I have seen people reporting. I haven't experienced them, but I'm glad that they have now added a new bug reporting system, which gives you an error code at the top of, or like in the screen whenever something happens and it crashes. It gives you like a full error code that allows them to know like, okay, this is where this is happening, and they're squashing those bugs and bringing some of those updates. So that is really cool. Let's see, 4%. That's not good enough. We're gonna wait for a little bit more for that to happen. Well, let's go back to a few questions. Q&A 2 at 40 minutes. 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Let's see. Okay, so at 40 minutes. Q&A 2, and drop your questions. I did have a few questions from Reddit, actually, that I need to talk about in just a second. Let's see. Boom. So there was a person that wants, this is a question that I get quite often. So the question is, are there any small flip phones out there? In short, no. So he says that the Nokia 2780, or this person, Greg, I think, says that TCL Flip 3 are sized for seniors, but his old Samsung is like, significantly smaller, and people want a phone closer to that size. And I get that. I understand that. But no, the sad reality is that no, there are no really small footprint flip phones as of now, unless you live outside of the United States in a country that still supports 2G and 3G, where you can get, some of those older phones. Second question is, are there any currently available flip phones which work in the US other than the Cat S22 that are neither rugged or so large? Rugged, no. Large, depends on how you look at it. So I recommend for Americans that want a little bit of a slimmer, not necessarily smaller, but slimmer phone, go to the KaiOS store and get a Japanese 902KC or 903KC. Those are the devices. They are definitely on the more expensive side of things. So about $300. But this is the phone that will be your aid in this case. So let's go a little bit further. So yeah, you can get this device, the Digno. It is a little bit more cumbersome to use because it doesn't have a touchscreen, but that's okay. You can kind of work around that. And it's smaller. It's a smaller footprint. It's a little bit slimmer, a little bit nicer in the hand. Yes, it is expensive, but you are importing it from Japan. And also, not only that, but you are getting it unlocked. Like, there are ways to get this cheaper, but you don't know if it's going to be unlocked or not. And I highly recommend that you go through KaiOS because it's confirmed that it is actually unlocked. There are other devices for those of you internationally, like also on KaiOS or eBay. You can probably find some unlocked ones. But yeah, so I would say this is probably your best bet. That person also had a few follow-up questions, so let's finish with that. Let's see, could the filter on dumb phones? Oh, this is more like dumb phone stuff. I'll reply to him later. He essentially wants a few extra features, like for searches, yeah. So that's how it works. Vortex V3, their error. Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'll get to that. And another question from Reddit is, when will we have stock of the Vortex V3? Oh, good question. So let me tell you what happened. So a few months ago, right, this was all the rage. There was even a Mr. Mobile video on the Vortex V3. It's not even in stock, I don't think. Let me find a link from the Dumbphone Finder. So this company, Vortex, let's go down. Vortex right here. Boom. So this is the Vortex V3. It's essentially a copycat of the old Motorola Razr, right? So, it's pretty slim profile, Android 11, all that good stuff, right? So what happens is that this device was meant for a program called the Lifeline program. So Vortex is a company that does Vortex Cellular. Let me show you here. So Vortex Cellular is essentially a company that, no, it's not that one. Yes, I think it's, again, there are so many things. Yes, I think it's this one. Yeah. So Vortex Cellular is a company that works with kind of like a federal program that allows you to, oh, here it is. There it is. So allows you to connect with devices for low income families or people who are on some certain kind of assistance. And what they do is they provide some of these phones. And their devices are mostly smartphones, right? Then they created this device, the Vortex V3, as an alternative, because again, there were some necessary things, especially for the market, right? So like, sometimes people who may be on assistance, they may not be able to use a smartphone for some reason. They may be elderly or, past, or they have some sort of necessary that they need buttons, right? So they created this alternative. Now, this alternative was just kind of like, flying under the radar, it's like, yeah, it's just kind of like a device that is out there for the purpose of helping this, assistance community get some of these devices. And then somebody found it, right? So somebody found it. They put it on Amazon for some reason. Like usually some of these devices don't go on Amazon. If you go to the, here, let's go to these Lifeline wireless programs. They give you some of this, kind of like benefits. Do I qualify? Yada, yada, yada. Companies near me. You can search for the providers. I think one of them is called Assurance Wireless, if I recall. And they provide you with a phone, here's how to qualify. They give you, so you can bring your own phone. You can get their free phone, that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah, this was supposed to be just for that market, but limited number of people that give some of these devices, right? I cannot find bring your own phone. Okay, yeah. I cannot find which phone, you kind of can have, right? But essentially, this is the kind of phone that you're getting, right? Like, so you're getting a very basic phone, and they give you some of this stuff, right? So what happened is somebody found the Vortex on Amazon, and then they put it on the subreddit. And then everybody, including myself, which, by the way, I am a culprit of this because it was so popular that I was like, well, let's just get one, right? And now, essentially, what happened is it got popular, right? Thousands of people bought this device, and they went out of stock. And the reason why is because, again, it's very slim. It's very nice to use. Like, people like it, and they were like, I'm willing to pay for it. So now Vortex is kind of like in the middle of, do we produce another one? Which is like, well, they don't really know because this is not their market, right? I really think they should continue producing it, updating it, making it better, listening to the feedback. One of the things was battery life, right? Like, it was definitely very difficult. But remember, their market is not connectivity for the masses, for dumb phones. It's this kind of like government assistance program that they're trying to market to. So I highly recommend that you don't expect that they're going to restock this device. And if they do, and they do it kind of like a general market availability, then that you really look into it and buy it as soon as it's available. So yeah, those were some of the questions. Okay, we're at 14%. We're going to go through all the questions, and then I'm going to showcase why it's so hard to get email on the KaiOS. Yeah. Okay, next question is, any custom ROMs for these button Android devices? Anyone knows? The support is really poor and quick. Yes, so there is a little Lineage OS and Xiaomi F21. So the Xiaomi F21 Pro, which is a keypad device, has the ROM for Lineage OS for 18.1. So here is the update V2 for the alpha. And again, you can get some of this configuration from this person that decided to tinker. So go to the, well, I'll link it to you, the XDA developers. This is all we have as of now. So the Xiaomi F21 Pro with Lineage OS is the only custom ROM that we have available for some of these keypad devices. Unfortunately, it's just what we have. It's just what it is. It is what it is, you know? Okay, let's continue. More questions. Chris and Barbara says, what do you think of using the Apple Watch Ultra as a standalone dumb phone? I think if you want to stay in the Apple ecosystem, people have found success. You know, here is, let's see, Apple Watch Ultra dumb phone. There's, yep, there it is. So I'm going to link this Reddit post because it can give you an idea. And I actually agree with this, you know, just in general. Like, you know, the Ultra is a great fashion accessory, it can do many things that dumb phone can't do. GPS, iMessage, podcast, music, weather, etc. Very true. It has very good battery life compared to an iPhone. You know, you can get a day, maybe a day and a half, you know, of battery, depending on how much you use it. And even though you can install social media apps, yeah, it's hard to use. But it does cost a lot of money. So that is one thing that I'm going to be saying, yes, this is a problem. If you already have one, yes, by all means, use an Apple Watch Ultra, you know, for these purposes. I think it's definitely doable. And I think it's going to help you kind of like gain some perspective. But here is the problem, right? So Apple Watch Ultra, when we go into like, even if you go into the newer one, right? Apple Watch Ultra 2. Let's get the cheapest version, right? From good old Apple people here. Let's get a black one. Let's get an Alpine loop and the navy. Small. Actually, I don't think that matters. No trade-in. Yay. $799. I mean, while I understand that if you are invested in the Apple ecosystem, you want to get this, I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's not a big deal, right? But I just think it's a lot of money for a smartwatch, right? You can get a lot of the functionality on a different dumb phone that you can get on a smartwatch, and you can get a phone for it, right? So the problem with the smartwatch here in this particular instance is also that you need to pair, and for most carriers, you need to pair a regular line on your phone and then a line on the dumb phone. So it's not only expensive, but you also are making it monthly more expensive for yourself. Now, if you have the disposable income, this is not a problem to you. You want to stay within the Apple ecosystem and you think this is going to just help your overall quality of life, by all means, go for it. I am here to help you with that kind of decision making, but you know, I think it's a good alternative. But if you're looking at it from like, okay, will this be a long-term experiment or will this be a short-term experiment? Now, if it's going to be a short-term experiment, I don't think spending $799 is worth it, in my opinion. But if it's going to be a long-term thing, then like, yeah, for sure, go for it, right? It's the same thing I say with the Light Phone 2, you know, or the Light Phone 3. And a lot of people are like, look at the price tag, right? I'm like, yeah, it's $699. It's a lot of money. It's actually just $100 less than an Apple Watch. Yeah, so it's a lot of money. If you're thinking about it from a short-term perspective, don't do it. You know, yeah, don't. Like, this is not the phone for you. Go get a flip phone, try it out, do that. But if you're planning to stick around with it for 10 years, 5 years, like let's say it's 5 years, because phones kind of like go, their battery goes out in 5 years, right? But then you can replace it because it's a replaceable battery. But let's just say 5 years, right? Well, you're getting a phone for 5 years. Now it's $100 and a little bit more, $120 per year, right? So it's $120 per year. Well, $699, no, $140 per year, right? So $140 per year. Is that worth it to you? Is that worth? Okay, yeah, but it's over the long term, right? And of course, the iPhone does have other features, and the Apple Watch has other features as well. That the iPhone doesn't have, like Apple Pay and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, what ecosystem do I want to embrace? How long do I want to embrace this for? Et cetera, et cetera. You could go and get a used Apple Watch first generation, right? Apple Watch Ultra first gen, and that's $415, right? GPS plus cellular is renewed, right? So it probably has some sort of 30-day warranty or whatever, and it's Apple, right? So you can always fix it, that kind of stuff. Not a premium, but now we're talking different kind of money, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, you can get a used one for $400, and now it's like, okay, now this experiment's a little bit cheaper, and let's see if it works, and it keeps me on the Apple ecosystem, which I think a lot of people should, look into it. And I think it's kind of like, how smart do you want your life to remain? Do you want to still have access to those iMessages and some of the email or some of that kind of stuff? So it's kind of like, which one do you want to do? Yes. Do they have a follow-up? Ultra 2 cellulars are going for $400. Oh, Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, there you go. That's good. And Verizon has standalone Apple Watch plans. Yes, however, they may not work for calls all the time. If you're going for a standalone plan, I highly recommend you look into US Mobile. It's going to be way cheaper for that. And I think their watch plans, here it is, Apple Watch and Pixel Watch. More about their monthly plan. If you already have a line, is free with unlimited premium. But if you don't, it's $9.5 per month. And the annual plan is $78 per year, which is $6.50. And you actually have unlimited talk and text without any need for another iPhone. It works truly independently. So highly recommend that you take a look into US Mobile instead of Verizon. Unless, Verizon gives you a deal if you're already with Verizon, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So, look into that. Okay. More questions. Let's continue with questions. But yes, I think the Apple Watch Ultra is good, especially if you think about it long term and you want to stay in the Apple ecosystem. Let's see. Can you download Textra on the Cat S22? Yeah, I don't see why not. Yam, I mean, that's not a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. It's an Android app and it should install without any issues. Is the Emporia Touch Smart 2 a good option for someone in the EU who wants to break their smartphone addiction but still needs WhatsApp? Or are there better alternatives? Good question, Noah. There are better alternatives. I do like the Emporia. I don't necessarily think it's a bad phone. However, there are better alternatives for Europe. So we're going to go to the European version of the Dumbphone Finder. We're going to go to WhatsApp compatibility, because you need that. Where are you? Here. Boom. And we're going to put yes. And then we are going to make sure to add a country. Just, country compatibility. Now it's ranked by country. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries as of right now. More data is coming, so more countries will be added, but I want it to be a little bit more conservative. And we're just going to put the United Kingdom as a kind of example. So my recommendation is that you go with, if you need WhatsApp and you need a small screen, right? Let's sort it by price, because I think sorted by price. So here we have the price. I recommend the TT Phone 970 first. That's kind of my recommendation. It's a little bit better. build quality wise, the touchscreen is better. It's the cousin to the. It still has a little bit of issues, but it's also cheaper. And you can still get WhatsApp. So TT Phone 970, highly recommend. That's one good recommendation. You have the AGM M7. You can get it from Dumb Wireless here is showing you, but you can also get it from Amazon.co.uk. That's just kind of like the link I have in there. But AGM M7 for Europe, maybe it's not on Amazon anymore. So you may have to get it on eBay or from the AGM store. I don't know if they have discontinued it. I hope not. It's such a good, yeah, there it is, still there. Yeah, there it is. So AGM official store. You can get WhatsApp with that. It is a little bit of rugged, a little bit of a unwieldy device, a little bit bigger. So that's something to think about. And then after that, we're getting into kind of like very expensive devices, and like, I mean, if you want to spend more money, that's fine. But I assume the Emporia was more of a like device that you wanted for a specific reason, or that kind of stuff, right? So alt-MIF style folder, excellent device, very good. I really think it's a strong performer. So I highly recommend that you look into that if you want to pay about $349, a little bit more, depending on where you get it. The MIF Folder 1, which is preferred, in my opinion, to the MIF Folder 2 because it's smaller, it is cheaper on eBay. So you have that eBay price right there. And yeah, it works. It's great. So TT Phone, Xiaomi F21 Pro. Oh, hi, Barbie. The phone woke up. Xiaomi F21 Pro, AGM M7, and alt-MIF style folder. So all of those are great options. I highly recommend. You can look at my ratings. Yeah, so like, for example, if I go to ratings, Jose's ratings, where are you at? Oh, it's not here. Oh, okay. I need to add that. So maybe it's in the North American version. Yeah. Okay. I need to do some tinkering with my tool. I have not been able to update it lately, but I'll make sure to update very soon. But yes, so you have the Dumbphone Finder, and those are kind of like my recommendations. TT Phone, AGM M7, Xiaomi F21 Pro. Those are definitely good options that will be better for a European country, any European country. So, yeah. Better than the Emporia. Again, the Emporia is okay. Like, if you can find a really cheap one, go for it. It'll make it work. Someone tweaked to add some apps, scan QR code, iPhone 3. Yes. I mean, we've seen some of these things. People are tinkering with their devices, and I myself made a video and I took it down because I personally didn't think it was an added value to my channel, to the kind of stuff that I want to promote, because the iPhone 3 now has an OLED screen which doesn't have that barrier of the e-ink, and it has the potential again of becoming something that I personally don't want. But yes, there are a lot of people that are tweaking. Yeah. Returning says, what changes? Updates do you know of the minimal phone with the June update? I just heard that they're going to do a lot of stability updates, and, they're going to continue refining a lot of the bugs and keyboard, and that kind of stuff. So nothing major. I think they're just trying to make it better integrated and make sure that all things are, top notch, which I think they're doing a good job. Minimal phone, again, a lot of people myself included, had some doubts, but they have delivered, I think, on the promise of the device. It's half smart, I think. I like Michael Fisher's name for his video, diet smartphone. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It's a diet smartphone, right? It's still a smartphone. It still has all of those things, but it's kind of like on a diet because it doesn't have like the high refresh screen and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so you can check out the minimal phone. It's actually in my top 5 recommendations. So if you want to, check it out, these are my top 5 picks for 2025. By and large, it's just kind of like the best picks for this. Let me put the link to the minimal phone if you're interested in getting that. You can check it out there. More questions. Let's keep going. Real quick, which is the best, most techie Sunbeam flip? The Juniper. That's the most, that has the most features. So Sunbeam Wireless, another company that I do like a lot. You go to their Pro phone, and their Pro version is the Juniper. I don't recall what was the name of the non-Pro. I think it's Eagle. Yeah, the Eagle. It has email, hotspot, and Waze for the cheaper non-Pro, and the Pro is the Juniper, which I think it's also an excellent device. Pro phone, order the Pro phone, Juniper. Yeah, there it is. Waze, email, hotspot, all of that good stuff. And I'll put a link to that also in the chat if you're interested for some of that. Okay, for the Sunbeam. Let's continue. There's one popular custom ROM for F2 Pro, but now I'm a bit worried ROM could have keyloggers, tracking software, or stuff like that. Am I tripping too hard? This is one of those areas where I'm like, you should be, okay, easiest way for you to find out. THASVU. Installed NextDNS on your device. So, well, make an account first. So NextDNS is a firewall, right? And essentially what this does is you create a way to block any traffic that you don't think should be there. So this creates a way for you to kind of like know, okay, what is this sending data to? Is it sending data to Google? Is it sending data to a different country that I may not be comfortable with? So go to NextDNS, create an account, set it up on your Android. They have an Android guide on how to do it on the website. And then you'll be able to see at the very least, okay, what is this sending information to? Where is this going? And the less information you want to send to them, the better. Yes, that is extremely important. And don't be too concerned, but verify. So you install this custom ROM, you're giving it a try, seeing how it works. Install NextDNS and see where the traffic is going. If the traffic is going to a location or an area, a country, it actually gives you like an information of where the country is going. Then you're like, okay, why is it going to that country? Like I have nothing on my phone or my apps that is logging some of the stuff, and that can give you an idea. And then if that's the case, then you want to replace that ROM as soon as possible or get a completely new device, in my opinion. That's kind of like a first layer to start exploring whether something fishy is happening. Binder says, do they update the software on 903KC often? No, not often. Sometimes you see updates here and there, but not a lot often. Icarus, any flip phones that have network support in the Caribbean, Latin America? Good question. Luckily, I have made a website for that purpose. You go to the Dumbphone Finder, you go to the LATAM version, Latin America. You can make sure that this says LATAM right there. Boom. There are 38 phones that work in Latin America, according to my research and the people that have, shared results with me. You would go to network provider. I have 4 only due to these are the people that are reporting to me. And whenever I get more kind of like reports, then I'll be able to put it there. So so some of these are available in those regions, and you should be able to use them with Latin American carriers. Most of the time when you put Claro, for example, or Movistar, Telcel, Entel, it's a little different, but Claro is essentially, if you put Claro is the same compatibility throughout the region. most of the time. There are some exceptions in South America with Brazil and with Chile, but by and large, they should work. These devices, if you put the Latin America region, should be, yeah. So some of these devices should give you that. And I'm going to drop some of these because they're not available anymore. For example, this one, yeah, see, it's some of these links are a little older. So, and yeah, I need to refresh. In the summer, I'll probably have more time to refresh some of these results and some of the database. There's some mistakes here and there. And if you find one, please just send me a text. I keep a log of all the mistakes, and then I fix them every so often. Okay. Let's continue. So yeah, for Latin America, go check out the Dumbphone Finder. These are the list of 38 devices that should work in Latin America without issues. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Speaking of Apple products or using Apple products, that Bloom card you recommended has totally saved my sanity. I'm down to like 40 minutes of iPhone screen time. I'm very happy. So this is person is talking about find your Bloom. So Bloom Conquer Screen Time is a physical card that allows you to tap essentially and block all of the stuff. So you choose your distractions, you tap the Bloom card, and it's blocked. Here's a little demo video. So you tap it, and then that's it. It scans, and now all the apps that are distracting are blocked. See, with regular Apple, then you can just ask for more time with the limit. But now, no simple bypasses. You really need the card to use, and I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I think it's okay. These are the things I like about it. There are some apps that are free. There's actually another one called Focus that does the same thing. It's free. However, it does not have all of the functionality, and it does not have. Okay. Relax, Barbie phone. I need you to not ring. So the problem with some of these apps, the free one is only available on the App Store right now. Bloom is available both on iOS and on Android. And it's only a one-time purchase. So you can get one card for $39, or you can get two or more for $29, which you probably may need to get for a friend or for a family member. And at $30, works with both Android and iOS. I think it's a great value proposition. Focus, again, free, open source, I believe. Very good. I like the dude that's doing this. However, not available yet on what's it called? Android. And a little bit of an issue with, it does not necessarily have feature parity with like schedules, or it does have categories, but it doesn't have schedules. And, it's kind of like, okay, what this other one has a leaderboard, which, has a little bit more of like, I'm, kind of like going against somebody. It's like a social component. So again, if you want to get it free and you want to get your own NFC card, is Focus for free. If you want to get something, it's not that expensive, but you can get it for multi-platform and it works well, then Bloom is my recommendation for sure. Yes. Let's go to a link for Bloom. Yes. Give me a second. I'll get you that very soon. And I believe that if you use this link that I'm going to send you, you get 10% off, something like that. Yes, let me see. You get, 10% discount. So if you want a little discount, I'll show you right now how to use it. You go to find your Bloom, and the discount is Jose Briones. If you buy now, I'll probably remove that later. Sorry. Yeah. Let me see if I can do something else, like open up private. Yes, that should be better. Yes. Okay. I'll show you guys this. My bad. Okay. Where is it? Okay, I cannot find it. The news and browser that I opened. So I'll have to find you later. But you can use this link, and you can use the link, and you'll get 10% off from the thing, from the Find Your Bloom. There you go. All right, let's see. Let's continue. More questions. All right. Okay. Fact that you cannot even activate the Apple Watch with an iPhone. Yeah, that's a problem for sure. I debated on the Ultra, but got the Cellular Series 10 on sale for half that. Battery life, it's better. Okay. Continue. More questions. Just ordered the F21 Pro. Is it still viable today? Yes, 100%. I agree. Do you know if it's theoretically possible to change the OS on the minimal phone? Yes, theoretically it is possible. You can unlock and get a lot of the developer options and some of that stuff, but nobody has done it yet. So it's a little bit of like, we don't know yet, right? Olympus MJU 840. I don't know. What does that mean? Is this a camera? Okay. No idea. Okay. Yes, that's the best way for next gen. That's good. Okay. I've heard the minimum compression for the hardware newer versions. Do you know if it's true? If so, I wonder where improvements are being made. I do not know that for a fact. I'm sorry. I don't know that for a fact that they are improving the hardware in newer versions. I assume that probably that will be true, but I would like to check that into it. Ari Brewer, what dumb phone do you recommend if I need WhatsApp? Okay, let's go back one more time to the Dumbphone Finder, dumbphones.org. Go to the Dumbphone Finder. Go to the region where you live. I'm going to do North America. You add a filter. WhatsApp support, yes. You will have 33 results. But on top of that, I do have a list with my ratings, Jose's ratings, 5 stars. There are 9 results that I recommend to you if you need WhatsApp support and you want a 5-star phone. These are the KaiOS 903KC, Dura XA Equip, Dura XV Extreme, Dura XV Extreme Plus, LG Classic, Alt-MIV Style Folder, Freetel Mode Retro 2, Xiaomi F21 Pro, and TCL Flip 2. These two I need to remove. I don't know why they're showing up here in North America, but they're not supposed to be there. There are also 4-star phones, which I'm probably going to upgrade the minimal phone to 5 stars, maybe. I'll think about it. But there's the Wise phone. There is the Sleek phone. There is the Balance phone. There's the Jelly Stars. There is the KaiOS 22 Flip. So a lot of devices to pick between the 4 stars and the 5 stars. And I think that you should be able to, kind of like look into all of this. And the logic between this is and. So it works in North America. It does have WhatsApp support and it does have 4 stars. And then, Jose's ratings, 5 stars, if it has 5 stars, and you can add more filters. You can select them. You can say, no, I don't want any filters applied, etc., etc. If I were to give you a blank recommendation for somebody who is just asking like, okay, hey, what can I do? Or which device is probably just the best? I would say if you're looking for a smart feature phone, right? Something that's smart, it can do apps. You're looking for something that has WhatsApp, I would say, and at least 4 stars, right? I would say if you live in Europe, Alt-MIV Style Folder, that would be great. If you live in North America, get a Cat S22 Flip. It's very inexpensive and it works decently well. It does have a few glitches here and there, but it does work without many issues. And yeah, those are the things. The KaiOS are okay. I like them, but for WhatsApp, then you have like, oh, well, you have to tinker and do ADB and have a mouse, and all of that good stuff. So there you go. That's some of the stuff. Or some of my thoughts when it comes to that. But go to the Dumbphone Finder, play around with it, do some extra research. Those are my my recommendations. Okay. Okay. Now we go to the final. Man, that was a long Q&A. Final section for their. So why does email does not work on the KaiOS? So an hour and 20 minutes. Email and KaiOS. All right, let's do this. Let me show you. Let's do a little demo. Okay, little demo. Dun, dun, dun. There you go. Let's go back. Here's the Barbie phone. Okay, so we're going to go to the email app. Email app. So this is what you need to do. You need to go next. You need to put your name, okay, whatever your name is. I'm going to use the Dumbphone Show email here. The Dumbphone Show at Gmail. Give me a second. I'm typing gmail.com. Okay. So dumbphoneshow@gmail.com. You can send an email if you have a question. And then you set up the account. And then it takes you to this Google thing, right? So this is probably where you're getting stuck. You enter whatever it is. You enter the email. You get done. And then you continue, right? Because this is really hard. And this is where it gets stuck. Is that correct? I don't know if the person... Does it not scroll all the way to next? This is going to be my assumption. I don't know if Adi is still with us. He had Atori. I don't know if he's still around, but, he'll get to see this. So essentially, once you put all of your information, then it does not scroll all the way down. This is when you need a Bluetooth mouse. So I highly recommend you get a Bluetooth mouse, and then you're going to be able to pair the phone to a Bluetooth mouse, and then you're going to be able to kind of like, navigate around it instead of using this little hand right here. My second recommendation is you do instead of doing the email here and clicking next, you go to advanced, you put your name, you put all of this stuff, and here on password, right? So there should be an advanced section right here. There should be an advanced section. So you go to the advanced section, you put the account, SMTP, whatever, and you put the password. And instead of putting your regular password, okay, instead of putting your regular password, you create an app-specific password. Let me show you what that looks like. So let's go to some browser right here. Right here. App specific password. So if you go to Google, yes, app specific passwords aren't recommended and are unnecessary in most cases. However, in this specific case, you do need it. So when to use app passwords, create and use app passwords. So you go to important. To create an app password, you need two-step verification, and you go to this page, which I'm going to link here. YouTube. Let me go to the other tab. You create an app-specific password, which can be very short or it can be long. It depends on what they give you. And you're right there. So you create an app-specific password on the link that I showed you. on the link that I put there. So support.google accounts. Go to Google account or go to your provider. It can be, many different providers do this. And then you sign in with your app specific password. You kind of like play around with it, tell them like, okay, this is my app specific password. You type it in, and then once you have typed it in, I'm just going to type a bunch of, kind of nonsense here. And then you type it, and then you type it again on this right here, the SMTP settings. And then once you have done that, you will get a next here, like, kind of like, okay. You may need to find some extra settings like the IMAP settings for hostname, but then you'll be able to sign in. If you go this way, again, the next with the setting up the account with the browser, it's going to be more difficult. It's definitely doable. I'm not saying it's not, but it's just like, okay, you need to press done and, do all of these different things. So it's a little bit more complicated than it seems. Alrighty, that's all I have for today. If anybody has any questions, put them there. I have maybe about 5 minutes or so. But yeah, I'm happy to answer anything else. I'm really happy to see some of these improvements on the Dumbphone space. There are some articles. Actually, we can go over that. There have been some articles, some really nice stuff happening in the Dumbphone movement. Luckily, if you want to stay in tune with the stuff that I put out, you can always subscribe to my podcast / newsletter called Moving Offline. I just released a latest thing. So Moving Offline, it's my Substack newsletter, and I talk about, many different things. But if you want to check it out for news, or sometimes I give tips, and ideas in there, so you can subscribe with no issues there. But there have been some nice articles featured in The Atlantic. So I think Atlantic, Age of Dumbphones. The Age of Dumbphones. Let's see. It was recent, very recent, right? Is America headed for an age of dumbphones? Here it is. Sort by this past week. There it is. I thought it was The Atlantic. Business Insider. Oh, it was Business Insider. So, so Business Insider had this dumbphones article. Cider, Age of Dumbphones. And they talk about, kind of like, hey, a lot of people have been tech forward, but now, people want to be abstinent. I thought this was a great play on words. And, people don't want to scroll all the time. They may want to get a light phone, yada, yada, yada. Talks about the lifestyle, talks about all these things. There's a lot of this stuff happening. So nice article. I'll link it to you guys for the reading for today. So if you haven't checked it out, there you go. So I really liked the article. I thought it was very good. Then let's see if we can find another one. There was another one that came very, very recently. I don't know. I don't know where it is. But there was another one that I saw. I think, oh, yes. The Atlantic. Why are there so many parent devices? Something like that. Alternative devices. 4 days ago. So, they talk about these newer kind of like things are happening. There's this alternative device fair, which I think it's great. It's more aimed at parents. And it's continuing to grow, for these things. So I'm really happy about that. So alternative device fair. I have heard of a few now. Let me look it up. Alternative Device Fair presents smartphones alternatives for kids and parents. There was one in, I believe, in New York. There's one in Oklahoma now, and they're kind of like just going around, for a lot of this stuff, and these articles are looking into it. So I'm really excited about that. So you should take a look into some of these things. And overall sentiment, I think, just in the subreddit and a lot of these areas, and I'm just happy to see that there are more updates, there are more things happening, there are more people interested in these alternatives, there are more people interested in digital minimalism. There is the book that I recommended to you at the beginning of the there's this book, Unplug. No, not this one. Different book. This one. Unplug, How to Break with Your Phone. Coming out. There is also, I saw that Jonathan Haidt, and it's called The Amazing Generation. Coming up soon as well. Not The Anxious, there it is. The Amazing Generation. How to choose fun and freedom in a screen-filled world. This is more for kids specifically. I'll send you a link to this. And if you want to take a look into that book. But it's just interesting to see some of these, more stuff. Again, it's for kids, it's kind of like it's a guide, more engaging, it's with Catherine Price, which is How to Break Up with Your Phone, the author of How to Break Up with Your Phone. She just released an updated book on that. So this stuff is getting bigger and bigger, and I have high hopes, especially due to the realities that we're seeing, the world becoming more enamored with this kind of like idea of, this idea of like AI chatbots and technology and, all of these things that are happening. And I'm just excited to see coverage. I'm excited to see parents. I'm excited to see people just doing this together. And I'm really happy that some of these things are getting better and better. So, yeah. Ari Brower says, what's a good launcher to use on my smartphone in the meantime? Highly recommend you take a look into on O Launcher. So O Launcher is definitely one of the best for digital minimalism. It's very basic, very nice to use. You also have Before Launcher. Before Launcher is another good one, similar, but it has a few extra things, that they add to the whole experience. So highly recommend those. So those are some two that could be helpful. If you have an iPhone, the Smile app launcher, I believe, is free on iPhone. So that allows you to create some of that aesthetic on the iPhone as well, and it's free, so you don't need to, do some of the stuff. So yeah. Let's see. Late to the stream. Apologies, advance hurt. Future updates for Sunbeam. Not yet. No major updates for the Sunbeam. But hopefully they're gonna be releasing something this summer or later this year that is going to make the gap a little bit easier for a lot of people to use. So yeah. Intentional tech is going to see growth. Anxious generation. Yep, correct. I agree. Returning retro. Are you planning to review the Unihertz keyboard phones when they're released? We'll see how they look. I don't want a massive phone, Ari. Like I really think I'm intrigued by what they're gonna release, but I'm like, I don't want a massive phone. I just want a regular phone, Like I hope it's small. If it's small, I will release it. If it's big, yeah, not so enthused about that. AI media is going to push people more into screen minimalism. Agreed. The people who don't escape will be extremely addicted. Also agreed, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of great comments, good stuff happening. Well, everyone, it's been a great stream for May. We'll see you in June. The June one will be kind of mid-June to late June, and then the July one will definitely be in the last of July because I'm going to be going out of the country. Actually, if you live in Europe and you are interested in some of the devices that I have, there will be a massive European-only giveaway on the Reddit coming soon because I am interested in getting rid of my devices. I don't like to keep devices that I don't use, and I like to give them away. But I don't like to give them away when I know that they don't work here in the United States. So I will be giving away a lot of the devices that you have seen that are European only, because I'm planning to travel to Europe, and I'm going to be over there, so I'm going to be able to ship it to mainland Europe, I believe. I believe that I should be able to ship throughout the region without many complications. I'll be talking to Fernando from the Lemur cases. Yeah, stay tuned to the Reddit because there will be a massive giveaway for Europeans, especially if you're in Europe. Stay tuned. It'll be a week long, enough time so that people can get their entries and that kind of stuff. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll probably announce it as well in some link in the community or that kind of stuff. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Hope you have a great day. Go outside, take a walk, do whatever it is that you have to do. I have to leave because I have a meeting. So now I'm going to, start my day kind of like doing some work. But I had this little break to hang out and, do a lot of little things with you all and give you some of the extra latest information that I have. There may be another live stream coming soon with Mudita, but they're busy right now. So we're going to wait and see how it all works out. Anyways, see you all. Have a great time.